the eSIP follow-up session, which we have every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. As Parishit Bhaiya mentioned, this is Deepesh. So in the last session, we have been talking about the other feelings in relationships. So where we talked about affection, care, we talked about excellence, we talked about gratitude, we discussed about love, which we call it as the complete value. So if at all you have any queries regarding this, you can put up here. Mic has been provided to you. Or else we can move to the next session on society. So when we say about the proposals, what we put forth here, so we say that the basic objective is to initiate the dialogue within yourselves or within the participant. And it starts from the dialogue between the facilitator and the participant, and which then will be slowly initiating a dialogue within the participant or the co-explorer. So that can be considered as the primary objective of these workshops. So it would be nice if you can throw your reflections. Can put your reflections so that we can have a dialogue. Right. So in that context, if you only have anything to speak out or ask or share any experiences, we can have some time for that. And this is the first eSIP program in the year 2025. And at the outset, let me wish you all a happy new year. And wish that this year ahead would be a very fruitful year for all of you and all of us. Right. Okay. So let's move on to session 11, society, where we'll be discussing about institution, community, etc. Right. So in all along this content, we were discussing about our aspirations and concerns and how our concerns can be resolved, isn't it? So if you look at the concerns, can we see something like this? That so far I was protected by my parents. Now I have to face the society all by myself. will I be able to do it? Is this a concern for many of our students? What do you think? Is it a concern? So for the students who are joining the college for the first year, so till that time, they might have been guided by their parents for in almost all activities, probably to the extent that dropping to school and picking back in the evening, right? Maybe like packing the lunch boxes and taking care of the food, taking care of all the financial expenses, right? Because as a student, the student might not be an earning member. So the financial side was also being taken care by the by the parents. And suddenly, small things will be taken care on their own by the students. Some of the problems in the academic sides or interacting with the public might have to be handled by own. And slowly, when they go for kind of placement and getting into a job, so have to face the society by all by themselves, isn't it? So the concern arises in the student who gets converted into an employee or an individual or a citizen, that will I be able to handle these situations, isn't it? Okay. Another concern could be how can there be communal harmony in the society, especially in a country like India where we have a lot of cultures, religions. Every few kilometers there will be different languages, right? People who with the different belief systems coexisting. So there can be concern that how can there be communal harmony in the society? And there can be concern that how can the society be free of crimes, especially crimes against women? If you observe the current scenario, you can see that the crimes in the society are on the rise generally, and especially the crime against women is also increasing generally, not in all context, right? So if you ask your natural acceptance, you always wanted to have a society which is free of crimes, isn't it? And it's the natural acceptance for all of us. Another concern could be how can I play a vital role in making a corruption-free society? So this is also one more concern, especially when we start interacting with the the bureaucracy. We may have to, we may see, or we may have to encounter many situations where things doesn't work without the bribes, and we might see that corruption is widespread in the society. But if I look into my natural acceptance, I may able to see that I wanted a corruption-free society. Maybe because of the preconditioning, many of us might have taken it as part of the society. We might have conditioned that the society is like this. And I also have to be a part of that, right? So when I have that conditioning and when I make a program of interaction with that condition, then there cannot be a corruption-free society. I'm also becoming a link in the chain of the corruption, isn't it? Another concern should be there is a vast gap between the rich and the poor in the society, the economic differences between the rich and the poor, and that's also not naturally acceptable. The rich is getting more and more rich or richer, and the poor is getting more and more poor, and the divide is getting increasing at a greater pace. So if we ask our natural acceptance, we can see that this divide is also not naturally acceptable, isn't it? Another concern about my country would be that can my country have better relationship with its neighbors? And this might be true for every country in the world, right? Some borders might be war prone, right? Maybe in some cases there may not be wars, but then there could be like the walls constructed, solid walls, or might be some kind of what do you call mesh walls or things like that, guarded by military people. All these things might be there when the relations between the countries are not in good shape, isn't it? But if you see your natural acceptance, can I have a what you say a strict military, not military guarded border between countries? Look at our natural acceptance. What areas do I pick for innovation and research which can be useful for the society at large? So when I look around, I can see there are many issues in the society, the people in the society, and being part of the the technology and the being part of the education aspect and the research aspect where I'm doing innovation, can I think in this manner that how can I be useful for the society at large? Or is it only for and my work or my studies is only for earning a job or for name or fame or getting more money only? Or can I think that my work, my education, my research work, can it be useful for the society at large? Can I be able to participate in the larger order for the society so that my passion in research, my passion in science and technology can be made useful for the society, for the larger community, isn't it? Another concern could be like, how do I make my parental family and my future family together while on job? So this might be a concern for someone who is thinking of building a parent family, right? How I can take my parental family and my future family together while doing my job. Another concern could be like society has various systems, education, health, market, governance, judiciary, media, public services. Can I have a holistic understanding for all these systems and my role therein? Is it possible to have an holistic understanding between the various systems? Systems being the education, health, market, governance, judiciary, media, public services, etc. Can I have a holistic understanding of all these systems and my role in these systems? Right. So there could be these right now, and I may be thinking about how to go ahead with this to solve these concerns. If you have any other concern, you can share. If you are able to see any concerns, you may take some time to share it. You may think about it at least. You can either put it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and speak. If you look at the present states, many times we can see that we work with a very limited vision, which means the inclusiveness is about me, my family, my job, my career, my enjoyment at workplace and in the family, etc. So I become the center and I alone is there in the connections. And mostly sometimes my family, maybe the people who are my colleagues are included. And that is a very small number. And the rest all are excluded. This is something which we see commonly, right? So if I think like that, probably I may I may take the waste from my house and else place because I'm not seeing the other as similar to me and my relative. I'm not able to see other as my relative. I'm not able to see the relationship between the other. I'm not worried about the consequences of the actions which I do for the others. isn't it? What do you think? When I'm playing music in a public space in loudspeaker, am I thinking that it is going to get affected for other people who are using the same space? When I'm speaking loud, when I'm throwing my trash somewhere in the public space, sometimes you can see people smoking in public spaces, wasting public utilities like water, right? So in that context, I'm not concerned about the other, isn't it? Me and me alone and my family and my immediate relatives. In that context, if I think I may not be concerned about the nature also, because it is not included in me, isn't it? I may exploit the nature. I'm not worried about the quality of air I'm breathing. I'm not worried about the overutilization of the resources. I may think that I have the money, that's why I'm utilizing the resources, isn't it? So in real life, we have to face the society in multiple ways. So when we say society, there is a collection of people who are related, seemingly unrelated, right? Having different goals and having lacking understanding. So the challenges might be there, which I have to face in multiple ways. When we do not have a holistic vision of society and we are faced with some disturbing issues, we try to fight against the problems. Many times we start feeling lonely. Isn't it? So when we don't have a holistic vision, the inclusiveness may be lacking. And we try to fight against the problems. So where does that fighting tendency come itself? When I am thinking of fighting against, even if it is a problem, that comes from a what you call a disorientation within me, isn't it? I have some disturbances within me. That is when I fight against the problems. So when I'm fighting against the problems, it is going to create again a disharmony in the others also, because I'm fighting. I can think whether I have more naturally acceptable ways of solving the problems rather than fighting against the problems, isn't it? Can there be a holistic vision for a harmonious society, a harmonious world? Is it possible to have a holistic vision to have a harmonious world? This is something which we can think about. Unless my vision is clear, how do I pick my role in it? Do I have a clear vision about it? If at all I have a clear vision, then only I can pick my role in it, isn't it? Otherwise, I may not be able to pick my role in it. Hence, I need to understand the common goal of human beings living in the society together, isn't it? So, till yesterday, we were talking about, not yesterday, till the last session, we were talking about the relationships, and we discussed about harmony within the human being and harmony at the level of the family also. And what we saw in a nutshell is that we are seeing the basic aspiration of every human being, continuity of happiness and prosperity. And we have seen that the trust is the foundation of every relationship. We have seen that the feeling of love is the foundation of undivided society, isn't it? So these things we have discussed in the earlier sessions. And if you understand this, then we can make effort for it individually, in the family, and in the larger society. In this session, we want to explore the goal of human being living in society so that desirable systems required for it may be developed and effectively implemented, isn't it? So, what is the common goal of human society? That's what we have to look into. So, first of all, we have to have this common goal. Then only we can think about the implementation of that common goal. So, when we think about human goal at the level of individual, it should be the right understanding and right feeling within the individual. So, right understanding and right feeling, if once ensured within me, I'll have happiness within me. And if every individual in the family is having right understanding and right feeling, that will be leading to harmony in the family, isn't it? It also ensures the prosperity in a family. Prosperity is the feeling of having or able to produce more than what is required, what is needed. So when I have the right understanding, I have the understanding about happiness and I have the understanding about prosperity, which means that I will be enjoying the prosperity and there will be prosperity in the family, which means the physical facility which is needed for me and my family will be taken care when I have the right understanding in the individuals in the family. And at the level of society, there will be fearlessness because there is the trust between the individuals in the society. Trust, which we have seen in the earlier sessions, is the assurance that the other wants to make me happy. And we have seen that it is the foundational value in relationship, foundational feelings. If trust is not ensured, there is to be ensured, isn't it? So for the individuals in the society to have a fruitful interaction, there should be trust, which means fearlessness in interacting with the other in the society. And at the level of existence, we need to have coexistence in nature or existence. So this is what we propose as the human goal. So when we propose this human goal, we have proposed it in all the four dimensions at the level of individual, family, society, and nature in existence. So one question we can ask here is that, is this our collective aspiration? Which means, is this aspiration for the whole of the human being, the human set? Or is it for only for a few people? You can think about it. If you have any reflections, you can share it in the chat, or you can unmute and share your reflections. What do you think? Are all four required, desirable, or can we leave something out? What do you think? Can we feeling in the individual? Can we leave out the prosperity part in the family, at the level of family? Can we leave out the fearlessness part in the society? Can we leave the coexistence in nature? Can think about this. And we can see that mostly all the four are required. If all the four are achieved, would anything else would be required? This is also something which we can think about. Is there anything more which is required, which is actually missing in what we proposed as the human goal? Another thing which we can think about is that, are we working for all four in the society? What about in the family? Are we working? Are we putting effort? Are we finding time? Now, if you look at the human goal which we have proposed, we can think about what we are actually making effort for. What is the actual scenario? Are we working for this human goal? Or are we working for what we have shown in the black boxes here? At the individual level, instead of the right understanding and the ensuring right feelings, are we all into assumptions, unverified assumptions? For example, one of the deep-rooted assumption might be that money is everything. At the individual level, if this kind of assumption is there, the reflection would be obsession for consumption. I'm not able to see the feeling of prosperity. I'm not able to identify how much is needed for me. I'm not able to see what is needed, right? And then if neither of them are there, I'm in the process of consumption, which often become an obsession for consumption. For example, it can be in the form of any physical facility. I may have multiple clothes, but then I will be trying to earn respect out of the clothes. So the need of the respect is continuous within me. And I try to derive this need of respect by having more and more clothes. And it becomes an obsession for consumption. Another reflection of the assumption money is everything is the obsession for profit. When you have the obsession for little as possible and make or earn as more isn't it? So if at all an organization is having this, try to loot the natural resources and increase the profit. Another example could be more profit at the cost of health. There was a scenario in one of the railway stations where the food inspector caught people who are making these snacks which are provided in the trains or the railway stations, where they have seen that The cooking oil was never replaced. They are only topped up. And in the dark oil, charred oil, which is carcinogenic, they prepare these food items. Can we see that the obsession for profit here? Because I have the assumption that money is everything. So all I want is money. I'm not worried about the quality of the food. I'm not worried about the health of the people who are consuming it. I have the obsession for profit. Similarly, I can have the obsession for sensual pleasure. So obesity, one reason for obesity could be not able to see how much food is needed for me, for the body. So for the taste part, I consume more and more food. And even if it is not needed, I'm consuming for the taste only. It need not be food alone. It could be anything which I'm consuming using my five sense organs, isn't it? Accumulation by any means is one of the other reflections. So many times we have seen that people who are highly educated and earning a handsome salary, they still do this bribing because the understanding is missing. The assumption is there that money is everything. So the action is that by accumulate by any means. So prosperity feeling is missing in the family. And at the level of society, there is domination, there is exploitation, there is fear, which may lead to terrorism and war, isn't it? And at the level of nature, I think that I am the master of the nature, and the whole nature is for me to consume. Instead of this understanding of coexistence, I think that I am the master of the whole resources in the nature. So with that attitude, if I am making a program with my interaction in nature, there will be resource depletion. If the consumption is too much, it may not recycle at the same rate into the cycle of nature, and then it becomes a source of pollution. For example, there is a balance or a mechanism in the nature to recycle the carbon dioxide or the poisonous gas which are fed into the atmosphere. But if you are pushing more carbon dioxide and the pollution pollutants, at a rate which is larger than this rate at which the nature is able to recycle, then that will lead to pollution. So are you able to see that even though we propose the human goal to have the right understanding and right feeling in the individual, and prosperity in family, fearlessness in society, and coexistence in nature, the current level of program with which we interact at all these four levels are entirely different. So we have problems at all the four levels. At the individual level, there is problem. At the level of family, we have problem. At the level of society, we have problem. And at the level of nature and existence, we have a problem, isn't it? So why is this problem coming? Where is it springing up? So if you look at this pie chart where we have seen that my imagination, the major share is governed by preconditioning or sensation, which is shown by the red and the black area here. And only a very small part of my imagination is guided by natural acceptance. And this is the problem. So when I say assumptions, unverified assumptions, they are all part of this preconditioning, isn't it? And the sensual pleasure is all coming from my imagination guided by sensation, which are my lack of competence. So the problem which is existing in the society has its roots in my lack of competence, my lack of understanding, and nothing more. And once I have this lack, I have the understanding within me, so this problem might be solved, and I would be able to see the human goal and ensure this human goal at all the levels of my being, isn't it? Right? To sum up, we can see at the level of society, we have a common goal. So this is the proposal what we have. When we say the common goal, it means it is common for all the human being, every human being. Which is naturally acceptable for every human being. Is that common? It is to ensure right understanding and right feeling in every individual, prosperity in every family, fearlessness in the society, and coexistence in nature and existence. Isn't it? So where should it start from? What do you think? Can we start from the society? Probably we can see many of the politicians might be doing that. At the individual level, they may not have the right understanding and right feeling, but they may be trying to do that at the level of society, and it fails. Because as an individual, the right understanding and right feeling is not ensured. isn't it? So if you see the politicians, if you ask, are they doing all the program which they make? Is it for the betterment of the society, or is it there for ensuring the power and the control with them? They want to rule over the others. Which one is it? What do you think? Yeah, mostly we can see that they want to have the power within them. Obsession for power, isn't it? But what they project is that they are doing a favor, they are doing a service to the society. The right understanding part is missing. So they are able to enjoy right feeling individual, isn't it? Right. So what we proposed here is the common goal, and what we currently see is because of the lack of understanding, the fulfillment of the human goal is leading to problems. You're not able to fulfill the human goal. So there are problems at the individual level, at the level of family, at the level of society, and at the level of nature and existence. And it has to start from the individual. If the individual part of the understanding has been taken care of, most of the other dimensions might be somewhat taken care of. But when the individual part is missing, the other part is naturally not able to sustain, isn't it? So this is about the society, and we can have a reflection upon the home assignment. So one thing we can ask is, how do you want to live in your institution, in your hostel, with a common goal and a common program of action, and everyone in the institution hostel does a part of the common program, with everyone having their own goals and own programs. So what is the program at the level of institution? Make a code of conduct for your hostel, which will help everyone in the hostel to use the common hostel. This is one assignment which you can think about. Another assignment would be like, today there is struggle, competition, terrorism, and the frustration leads to many problems like alcoholism. Make a list of these problems. Are these problems of understanding in human being? What can be done to address the problems about it in your hostel? So this can be another assignment which you can think about. So time is 8:28. Probably we can close this session here, and we'll in the next week probably we can start with the nature. So once again, thank you so much for joining for this session of the follow-up of eSIP program, which we conduct every Wednesday. So once again,
जी, थैंक
Happy
यू
each
दीपेश
one of
भैया।
you. Thank you
या
so much. Namaste. Over to
हाँ,
you, Parishit Bhaiya.
जी, थैंक यू दीपेश भैया। Again, Happy New Year to all our co-explorers on the Zoom as well as on the YouTube. And we'll meet again next week for more and more exploration. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Deepesh bhaiya.